Alrighty, well, welcome to this week's Tokwa Ask Us Anything. Did anything in particular happen today?
Share price went down.
What's this about?
No
Rob, can you
idea.
elaborate? What happened today?
Well,
Yeah, it's unfortunate I couldn't make it. I was thinking about it, but yeah, World EV Day at Buzzwood.
So Rob, Pete, you were there?
Absolutely, loved it. It was a great day. We all met up near the big Optus Stadium, and yeah, would have been, as Ken said before, at least 30, I'd say 30 to 40 EVs there, which was absolutely fantastic to see. It was probably the biggest, what do we call it? What's the collective noun for EVs?
Now, there's a good question. Is it a silence of EVs, or is it a
It's a
charge.
Is it a charge?
charge of EVs?
Yeah, charge of EVs. Yep. So probably the biggest charge of EVs I've experienced in real life to date. So yeah, it was really awesome.
Cool. So Rob, you've got the background of Optus Stadium and John Edwards' Targa winning, or Targa stage winning EV in the background. So how was it for you?
Oh, it was very good. It was interesting to meet the limo driver who's got the car the same colour as yours.
That's
Chris.
terrible.
Was it Chris?
Chris Bowen.
Yeah, so I actually learned something off him. He had a new set of tyres on that Model X, and they were quite impressive.
Oh, yeah. What was their name? As if I didn't know it already.
Was it Acco, or it was maybe a South Korean brand. But he said they were $250 each. So for Model X, that was really good.
Yep.
And he said the mileage he was getting out of them is excellent. So we'll have to do some more research into that.
Because he's got the 21-inch wheels, I think.
He does, yeah. That's why I went over to him and said, yeah, it could be expensive on a limo, but he'd done his maths on it, and that's why I'd gone for those tyres for the replacement.
Yeah, cool. So circling back to World EV Day at the Epicurean restaurant, how was that for everyone?
Very nice.
And I went with Richard. We went to Subway. And then went back to the cars to talk about electric cars.
So on the lawn, we had the, from memory, Kona, EQC,
Mini.
I-Pace, Model 3, Model X. I'm not sure about the Model S. I don't think that was there. What other EVs were there, Rob?
BMW i3.
Cool.
Two Model X.
Yes.
And there was a new Ionic as well.
Ah, yes. Cool.
The new Ionic has the bigger battery.
So what's the range on the new Ionic?
I didn't get the actual spec, but it has got a bigger battery. It's got a 30, the same size as the current Kona battery, and a slightly longer range than the current Kona. So
the Kona is, I think, 64 kilowatt hours.
Yeah, I think that's right. I think it's now got the same battery, because it previously used to have a 40 something in the previous Ionic, and
yes.
so it's now the same as the Kona. range is a bit longer, which means ironically it's slightly less efficient. It used to be the efficiency champion, the old Ioniq, but because it's heavier now, it's slightly less efficient, but still an awesome little car. And they've upgraded the interior. I had a sit in the one that was there. It actually looks quite pleasant now. Nice place to be. They've still gone pretty safe. It still looks like a conventional car.
Has it got the transmission tunnel, or is that's?
Yeah, no, it's still got a tunnel, I think. Yeah, because I think some of the batteries are like in the Kona in the T shape.
Yeah, cool. And I presume Audi was not there.
Audi haven't got any e-trons in WA at the moment. I've been trying to get a test drive, but I've been rebuffed. But I think Audi Perth are trying to get an e-tron 55 in, but they haven't got one at this point.
Cool. Any other news today, apart from Tesla's ordinary share price, which is kind of obvious, and it's continuing to be so?
Yeah, well, it can keep going down until I want to buy some.
Well, Pete being the seasoned share trader, understands that this is a buying opportunity, perhaps.
Well, it is if he goes up from here, that's for sure. Was that a politically correct answer or what?
I think that's spot on, isn't it? But hindsight, Harry says, if Tesla goes up, now's the time to buy.
Well, it's investing. I don't know about trading, but investing isn't too unlike shopping. You know, as long as what you're buying, as long as the fruit that you're buying isn't going to go off tomorrow, as long as it's good fruit, you'd rather get it while it's on sale than pay a higher price. So, you know, if everyone had that mentality while they're investing, they'd do a lot better.
So Tesla had a $5 billion capital raise, which I believe they filled in 3 days, three trading days.
That was surprising. I thought they'd sit on that for a while, like Rob Mayers said in his latest podcast. Yeah, I was surprised too. I thought they'd sit on that for a while and just, yeah. So they must have thought that the price was fairly elevated. In hindsight, they were right.
That's interesting because I thought the same thing, Pete. I figured they'd keep that in their back pocket and just wait for the presumed S&P 500 inclusion and just ride that wave up, you know, hopefully to $550, maybe $600 a share, and flog a few shares then. But it seems actually, I guess one positive to take from that is that maybe Tesla wants the capital now to spend it on what's coming up on Battery Day, perhaps. Who knows?
Well, and they're currently. Joys of NBN. And they're currently in the process of building 3 factories around the world simultaneously, so they might want a bit of cash.
And let's hope they spend that cash as quickly as possible to produce as much factory and output as they can.
There was also some news about Elon mentioning about the Berlin factory, saying that there'll be more announcements around at Battery Day. And what was the term he used? He said this is going to be structurally a completely new way of assembling or manufacturing a car.
Yes.
What they're doing in Berlin.
He said the Model Y would be structurally different.
It's going to be totally redesigned.
A core structural change, I think, was something like that. Yeah.
And he was sort of harking back to what he had originally thought the Model Y would be, which was a radical departure from the Model 3. And that was, the implication there was the 150-meter wiring loom, which might not happen. But is it perhaps the 4070 battery, perhaps, rather than the 2170. Because he said was it drivetrain or the basic design of the car would be manifestly different.
But it didn't even seem like he was referring to EVs in particular. It seemed like he was talking about cars in general.
Yeah, it's interesting. And he was talking about also, I think it was implying stationary storage. Like he was talking about the Berlin factory or Gigafactory, would be producing battery packs and other technologies independent of EVs. Yeah, cool. So Nigel, you've got the Tesla semis in the background.
Yeah.
So Terrafactory is allegedly going to be producing some of those, maybe.
Yeah, I don't think I'll buy one.
Why not?
Great for camping, caravanning.
Well, notwithstanding that they've had a bit of a flood lately and a bit of erosion, which sort of looks a bit severe, but probably isn't, that bad, really. Hopefully, why not? Why wouldn't you buy a semi with a well, who knows, half a house on the back?
Yeah, I don't have the right license for it anyway.
I got one of those. I can just I'll email you the credentials. It'll be fine.
It won't fit in your garage. It won't fit in mine, that's for sure.
Nor will the Cybertruck. Just quietly.
Well, I think it'll fit in mine.
Right. Well, just download that little app called Cybertruck. No, AR Cybertruck. It's about $10. You can project the said Cybertruck into your garage with augmented reality and see if it fits.
Just getting the dimensions, it should easily fit because I've got a triple car garage.
Nice. Excellent.
A question, if I may.
Yes, Peter.
What do you have to do to get the auto park system working?
Mark Dutton showed me, we worked it out, him and I watched the YouTube video today. So there's a couple of buttons that you've got to press. So number one, so you go into the controls. So you're in your car at the moment, Pete?
Yeah.
So if you go into controls, so press the Model 3 icon and then go into autopilot and then go into customize autopilot.
Hang on. Autopilot. Customize navigation on autopilot.
Yep.
Speed limit for lane departure.
It's the last two toggles on the bottom of the menu. So one is, it allows you to summon the car without you having to keep your finger on the summon button.
Hang on, I got lost somewhere. I'm in autopilot.
Yep.
And I've got
so
everything.
Press on customize autopilot. What I'll do is I'll go in my car.
I don't have that one.
See if I can work
I've got customize navigate on autopilot.
Yeah, that's it.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. And so what are the last two options down the bottom
Lane
there?
change notification, off, chime, vibrate, or both. Require lane change conversations, speed-based lane changes, and enable at start of every trip, which I've got yes.
Scroll
Nothing
down.
parking.
Scroll.
I am. There's nothing to scroll.
All right, here we go. So autopilot. No, it's customized summon. Sorry, Pete. Customized summon. It's just under customized navigate and autopilot.
Oh, so I've got to turn summon on.
Yep.
They're in beta. Yes. Okay.
And then, so the last two, so the second last one says require continuous press.
I've got yes.
So you've got to press no on that.
Oh, yeah.
So just be careful from now on when you're summoning your car, because previously, if you wanted to stop anything, if you wanted to stop the car, you just had to take your finger off the phone, obviously. Whereas now you'll actually have to physically press the stop button. So just in case you go out of the app or something, actually, I'm not sure what it does, whether it stops if you get out of the app. But that would be an interesting thing to.
You can also if you touch any door handle while the car is moving, it will stop. You just press the door handle.
Yeah.
And I've noticed that you've got to be very careful. Even though I've got the accidental touch on my phone, when I summon it and put my phone back in my pocket, I'm starting to walk away, and the car started to move by itself. And I realized it must have, brushed against my tire or something like that. And it was scary, but I mean, if it comes across any obstacles, it would stop, I guess. But yeah, I've noticed that. So you've got to be really careful. Make sure you shut the app down once it's finished, or get out of the that summon page, because if you put the phone back in your pocket and if it touches something there, the car starts to move by itself. Yeah, that's what I've noticed.
Yeah, that's good advice.
My question was more about parking, not summoning.
Yeah, no. So in order to be able to do the auto park, where you get out of the car and the car parks by itself, you've got to have
not even that. Not even that. Just when I park, coming to a parking bay, it doesn't. About once every 500 times, it'll show me in the blue.
Yeah. So if you're on a parallel parking situation or even a perpendicular, you have to sort of slow down. And if you sort of come to a stop, if the car wants to offer it, it will say, I can do a parallel park or a perpendicular park.
Yep. It comes up in blue.
Yes. And then I think you have to touch park, and then it will basically start. And then you take your hands off the wheel, pedals off the control, brake and accelerator, and then it will do it if it wants to.
The trick to getting the park button, the blue button, park button to come up, is to drive fairly close to the empty parking spot and to actually go a little bit past it, maybe a good couple of meters. Unless if you're maybe 3 or 4 meters on the other side of the road in a car park, it assumes that that's not the car park that you're looking at.
That's correct.
Yeah. So if you drive 2 or 3 meters past it slowly, like Harold said, then for me it seems to come up, 9 times out of 10, at least 8 times out of 10.
But it's only if it says one vacant spot between 2 cars. If there's 2 vacant spots or 3, that's right. So it won't.
Actually, it's coming up for me now in underground car parks where so no longer does there have to be 2 cars, one on each side. It's enough for there to be 1 car on one side and a pylon on the other side, and it still does it.
Okay, that's good.
Yeah. Or some sort of structure, yeah.
All right, thank you for that. I shall try and be a bit more gentle and slow and close.
But if you wanted to know about this other feature where you can actually get out of the car if you're brave enough to do it, I tried it with Mark's assistance for the first time today, and when it gives you that blue button that says start or whatever the blue button is, once you press it, you can, on your right stalk there's a park button that you press in from the side.
Yep.
If you double click that and then walk out of the car, it will pretty much as soon as you close the door, it will start parking itself.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
It works quite good because I do that all the time in my place. I got a very tight parking garage. There's not enough space on either side to get out of the car. So I mostly park it all the time that way. And when I come out, I just summon it out, and yeah, it works pretty good.
Oh, good. All right. Thank you. Second one. I bought a set of door seals from a mob over east called Tesseries or something or other. And I put the ones on the back door for a start. And when I was down at floor level having a look, I thought, oh, I was looking back from the front door open back into the back door, and the seals were about 2 or 3 millimeters away from actually touching the chassis. So that they're doing absolutely nothing at all. I was just wondering, has anyone else had that sort of experience or tried to put door seals on to hopefully stop the noise and also all the crap that blows up under the doors?
Nope.
No? I just happened to see a video afterwards of a guy in Canada who didn't even stick them on. He could slide them in and out under the door without them touching anything. So I don't know whether my car's got a bent chassis or what the hell. I'm only joking with that.
I hope you are.
I think these seals must be Chinese lookalikes.
So actually, no.
Nobody's experienced it?
Nigel? No. It's all good. Pete?
Yeah, I haven't put door seals on.
I haven't put them on, but I spoke today at Burswood. I spoke to Paul Spark Joy, I think his handle, his social media handle. And sorry, still there. Just dropped.
Yeah.
That wasn't you falling over.
Don't drop the mic, Pete.
Yeah. And yeah, he was showing me he bought some third-party ones that he installed, and he said it makes quite a noticeable difference in terms of the noise in the cabin. So yeah, I'm not considering giving it a shot.
Even if they didn't touch, they would probably block it down a bit because there's only a bit of room left. But these things don't. They miss by 2 or 3 millimeters, or maybe even 4, along the bottom of the door.
So where did you get yours from, Peter?
A company in Sydney, I think they're in Sydney. They don't answer the phone. It's sort of not connected. It's called Tesseries, Tessories or something like that.
Okay.
No instructions, just a link to a video clip, which is different to what they've got anyway. So I got stung. Only the tune of about $50, but still.
Can you send them an email?
Pardon me?
Can you send them an email? They've got a support email?
I don't think so. I'll have another look and see. I've chuck them in the bin anyway. They're bloody useless.
No.
So I have to go to Bunnings and get some really thick door seals and try them, I think.
I think they might do a better job.
Yeah, I think they will. That's it for me.
Cool. So anyone else got any questions or comments or news?
Can we talk about paint? It was actually it was a bit of a discussion I had today, and I was talking about the original Model S has, obviously has soft paint work, and that's because of California's tight emission rules. But it's one of the reasons why it would be great for the Model 3 and the Model Y to be built Australian delivered cars to come from Shanghai, because from what I understand is they don't have much rules when it comes to paint and the emissions.
So you're saying, Rob, that they might be emitting some VOCs willy-nilly?
No, I think the laws are around toxic chemicals and I can't remember what it is. But it was interesting. I remember watching or listening to a interview with Elon a few weeks ago, where he took complete ownership over that, and he said, "Look, I agree with the Californian rules."
Yes.
And he said, "It's not them to blame. It's our fault." But you know, and then he said we're much better now. We're solving it, but it's not. Yeah, I'm not blaming them. So that was pretty upstanding of him.
Yeah, you're right, Pete, because he literally did do that, and rather than trying to blame California for making it hard, he actually embraced it. Yeah, instead on. I was being a bit flippant. So carry on, Rob.
Yeah, so that basically, some people are saying it would be good to get the Model Y from China because the build quality could possibly be better than California, which is interesting. But I think the paint quality will probably be better too.
Well, that and Gigafactory Berlin, because Elon has stated that Berlin will have the best multi-coat paint setup, which, if you look at the drone footage, is that huge concrete building that they've already partially built, which is huge. You know, it's got a huge gallery of one part is it's probably about 4 stories tall, standard stories, if not higher. Huge gallery for them to paint the presumably Model 3s. No, Model Y, sorry, for Europe.
Model Y looks great. Not so much the shape, but the actual interior room, the interior design. You know, the usefulness of the car looks very good.
Yeah.
Well, it's really like a 3/4 size Model X, possibly even larger than that, maybe 4/5 of Model X at 2/3 the price, not even.
Without the stupid doors.
Indeed. Absolutely. Yes, that's right.
I love those doors. Those doors are bloody fantastic.
Yeah, they're great. They're great to see from afar, but when you're close up to them,
But far from good. Great from afar, but far from good.
Controversial opinion. I completely withdraw my statement. Yeah.
Oh dear. Well, they're the doors that I don't know how you describe it. They pull the crowd, but they, yeah.
Oh, the Model X is awesome. It's a technological tour de force. I mean, why are the front doors, you know, electromechanical as well? You know, there's no reason at all for them to be electromechanical, but they are, and that's awesome.
And how good is it when the door comes in and you don't have to actually properly close it, because as long as it touches the latch, it'll just like suck in and go automatically, and that's just magic.
How does it do that? What drive system has it got to do that?
I presume it's that hinge that's got an actuator that's obviously pretty strong that just sucks it in. Or mate, I don't know, Rob. That's a very good question.
Yeah. To crush, you know, obviously it needs enough pressure to crush the door seals to shut the door.
Yep, and it's funny because you can actually, I wouldn't call it slam it, but you can, you know, push it closed and it will literally close in one action like a conventional door. But if you simply let it rest upon its sensor, it'll then just do the rest of the work, which is like, and suck it in. That's kind of magical. It's the equivalent of the Model S's, where the door handles just poke out because they want to.
Is it not the latch itself that sort of hooks on and then pulls it in? That would be, you know, thinking about the end of the lever, that would be a much easier way of doing it.
So it can sort of pull the first bit and then drag it. To my great chagrin, I haven't actually looked close enough because I'm interested in the final result as opposed to the process.
I'm pretty sure they got a motor somewhere with the external kit. You can buy a separate kit to make your doors lock automatically. And there's a motor somewhere in the setup.
For Model 3?
Yeah, I think it's for Model 3s, and I don't know if it's the same way they do it for the Model X's and S's or whatever, but
Yeah, right.
there is a model somewhere along the line there set up, and that's how it draws the door back in, I think.
It is a magical process where you just see it. It's sort of like about an inch,
Yeah.
not quite closed, and it just magically just sucks in. As well as doing that dance with the glass to lower it, or it's lowered until it mates, and then it goes back up to form the seal, which is hard to do. Well, properly.
Magic.
And the seal on the door has to be absolutely, the door window has to be perfect, or you get a wind noise.
Yes.
Because I replaced the driver's door handle the other day, and you have to actually loosen the window to get to a bolt. And I put it back on, no problem. It looked straight. I was driving down the freeway, and it was getting this wind noise, and I thought, oh, for goodness sake, it's about 0.5 millimeter out. So I've got to take the interior of the door off again and undo the screw and adjust the window.
Uh-oh. So on your door, Rob, do you have those sealing tabs, like the bit of aluminium foil backed with adhesive to seal? Because I believe that the side intrusion detection is like a pressure sensor, and you've got to make sure you seal the that door cavity so it can sense.
That's right. To keep the pressure on the door. Now the funny thing is, it's supposed to be aluminium stickers, but some are aluminium, some are gaffer tape. Whatever was in the factory in 2015, they used. So when you take a door off an early Model S, you find some interesting stuff in there. I've got to just show you, if you can see. That's what. Can you see that? Now,
No.
that's a good one. That's an interior part. That's called a paddle gear. And you can see that. See how it's broken?
Oh, yeah.
Yes. Not the same. Yes.
But also the shinier one, that one, is a better quality. That's a better, and that was designed by an Australian guy in Sydney.
Mm.
He designed it better, and Tesla took it on.
Oh, so Ken, that might be the Australian dude that we've heard great things about last year. One of the stars of Tesla, being an Aussie designer.
So he's just made it better. It's a $2.50 part that eventually cracks and drops down inside the door, and that's why the handle actually stays in. So it's a case of you've got to take all the interior of the door off. This is obviously when it's under warranty, they do it for free, but my car not anymore. You've got to take the interior of the door off and make sure you don't set the airbag off or do all the damage inside, break the speakers, the whole lot. But it's quite an interesting adventure in there. And what's supposed to be a 10mm bolt is some other bolt, I don't know. And they just use whatever they could in the factory in those days. Hopefully you Model 3 guys have got cars that are built with the same bolts on every car.
I dare say not. Possibly not.
At the end of the day, when the door's back on in place, as long as it works.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, Model 3s are going through various evolutionary stages. I think there's talk of the Octavalve possibly about to be retrofitted to Model 3s from the Model Y.
They've made the frunk a bit smaller, apparently. So that's possibly to make room for the heat pump. Yeah.
Well, that's compelling evidence, isn't it? It's yeah. So is a Model? Do we know if the Model Y frunk is smaller than the old Model 3 frunk?
It's deeper, but yeah, I think it is a little bit
shorter,
smaller.
perhaps, or
yeah, from memory, it is a little bit smaller from both. Actually, I don't think it's any wider that way.
Yeah.
With camera.
Yeah.
But yeah, in terms of depth from front to back, I think it's a bit shorter, like I said. Yeah.
Yeah, cool. But deeper, obviously.
But deeper because
height.
it's
Yeah.
exactly.
There was One of the most recent fully charged, they did a comparison side by side with a 3 and a Y, and he showed the different frunks. And so the Y frunk is definitely larger, mostly because it's deeper.
Cool. Cool. Well, there's the model.
You find that YouTube video, the fully charged, and you can see them side by side.
Yes, Andy Munro in his teardowns did say that Tesla actually just changes little things as they learn more stuff. So the Model 3s that are built now are...
Oh, Nigel, you're off. You're muted.
Sorry.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, so Sandy Munro did say that they start to change things slowly. Just, that we can improve that. And so the Tesla that are built now are slightly different to a year ago. Rather than here's the 2021 model, it's just a little change and little change and little change.
He said that he observed something like 13, or I can't remember the exact number, of changes in a matter of months. And he said that at a large legacy auto manufacturer, it would take him a year to get one change approved.
That was Sandy, wasn't it? Sandy,
yeah, it was. Yeah.
And did you see how he actually CT'd, computed tomography, X-rayed the octavalve on one of those associate companies to actually see what was inside rather than pulling it apart? So as an example for the Model Y, you can actually see how they've changed it since the first version that Sandy Munro pulled apart, which made it more efficient, I presume, because there were some issues with the Model Y with, I think it was hot temperatures. It wasn't as efficient as it ought to have been. So they've changed the design, and Sandy Munro CT'd it, computer tomography, scanned it to see how it worked and showed that on his latest video.
Haven't seen that one, but
yeah, it's
like an MRI.
Well, exactly. Yeah. CT is computed tomography, which is X-raying it in slices and assembling it, whatever details
from different angles. Yep.
Yeah. You just take slices and it showed the way it actuates. You can actually, I think they actually took several series of scans with the octavalve in different modes, because actually octavalve has a central shaft with various lobes that direct, I'm not sure if it's coolant or aircon gases or whatever it is, because of course it can achieve that duality of heating the cabin with reverse cycle aircon effectively, and also drying out the air, because you want to actually heat the air and dry it out at the same time, which is difficult to do in a conventional system. So Sandy engaged the resources of some CT scanning company that in his last video he actually he said who they were and their details.
Okay, just backtrack for a second, Peter. With in the autopilot, the cruise follow distance, is that the number of car lengths that you sit behind the car in front? And mine's sitting on 1.
Yeah, I don't think it's number of car lengths, but it's some sort of an index. So I think it's between 1 and 10 from memory, or 1 and 8 actually, I think. I'll have a look.
I think it's 1 and 7.
1 and 7, is it? Okay. Yeah.
It is on the S and X, but maybe Model 3 might be different.
It goes up to 7. But it's
you're right.
1.
Yeah, between 1 and 7. I've just tried it. You're right. Yep.
Yeah. So where's yours?
I've got it on 1. I've got it on 1 as well. I had it on 1.
I guess.
Yeah. I found I had it on 3 when I first got the car, and I just found that was a bit too far. 2 is probably, obviously the faster you go, the bigger that should be, but I think it takes that into account. But that's why I don't think it's car lengths. I think it's some sort of a index. But yeah, so yeah, one in the city, especially in stop-start traffic. But yeah, maybe 2 or 3 if you're driving long distance on highways, freeways.
Yeah, I
Road
usually
trip.
set it to about 2 on the freeway and 1 elsewhere. But even on 2, you get 20 cars pulling in front of you.
Okay.
You even get that on 1. They'll still cut. And the
We have
car.
a setting called a half.
So say again.
Well, how about a setting of a half?
Exactly. Well, precisely. You know, on 1, cars will cut in on you, but at least the last few software revisions, the car sort of behaves fairly gently. It'll just slowly back away from that car that just cut in, rather than abruptly braking, you know, to make way.
I've noticed that.
Yeah. So it's quite gentle, albeit rather courteous to that car that just cut in on you.
Well, he might be coming on the off ramp, off the on ramp. I mean.
Oh, and that gets back to a couple of weeks ago when I think, Ashley, you were saying about the car being a bit erratic or, you know, doing phantom braking. On my car, I've been studying it intensely, and what I've found it to do is if there's an on-ramp coming up, the car will obsess about that lane, and if there's a car anywhere near you, it'll slow down thinking that it's going to cut in on you, even though it can't or won't. And that might be an explanation as to the phantom braking, where it sort of abruptly brakes for something that it thinks is going to impinge on you, even though it's not going to. So
Yeah, they're very cautious.
Going
Yes.
up the freeway, it sometimes is obsessing about the car in the left-hand lane, although we've got 3 or 4 lanes,
yes,
and that's the one that's gone the dark grey, and then it will not overtake it, and it just wants to keep braking and braking,
yes.
even though it's not indicating or not moving.
And it slows down, like, so if the speed limit is 100 and that car happens to be doing 80 or whatever, it'll slow you down to that speed, stressing that that car's going to come in, even though it won't. Yeah.
Erring on the side of caution.
I accelerate past it.
Sorry.
Yeah, go, Pete. Sorry.
I said erring on the side of caution.
Well, let's hope it becomes a bit more adventurous and pays attention to what's actually going to be a threat as opposed to what isn't really a threat.
Perceived threat.
Yeah, exactly. Although I don't know about you guys, how do your cars go with motorbikes coming, not lane splitting alongside? Do you get a wiggle, or is it just straight?
Well, I haven't noticed. It happens enough.
I noticed it today. I noticed I was on NOA, Navigo and Autopol, and there was a car in the middle lane who had moved out of the way a little bit to let the motorbike through. And yeah, my car was just, like it wasn't even there. So just kept on going straight. Yeah.
Yeah, mine's been similar. It seems to take motorbikes quite well. It sort of ignores it. You can see them, but it doesn't get the errors, which is great.
Unless they cut in perpendicular,
Yes.
then it breaks fairly suddenly.
Yeah, cool.
Now, when's the thing at Wesley College?
That's been already, I think. Has that been already?
Oh,
No. That's in October. It's about
okay.
the
Not this weekend.
Are you talking about the Como Car Show, Pete?
yes.
Yeah.
Right, I thought I missed that. I thought
No.
I had it in my calendar last week. Right, okay. That's good.
So, Rob, do you know when the Como Car Show is?
October the 4th.
Yep.
Ah,
The
Okay.
4th. Okay.
Yes, that's right. Yes, it is. That coincides with our casual meetup. Yeah,
We'll be
4th of
there.
October.
That's going to be there, is it?
At Wesley, yes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
All
yeah.
right.
And then on the roughly the 10th of October,
Yeah, you're going to Coolin.
we're going to Coolin.
Yeah. And the 11th in the morning, I fly to Karratha. So
Yes.
I won't be sleeping over in Coolin.
No, but hopefully you'll be able to, well,
I
maybe,
might go halfway.
well, you could do a day trip if we've got a fast DC charger at Coolin, perhaps.
Yep.
Which we might be able to confirm in a couple of weeks or so.
How are you going with your tailgate,
It's going well.
your bike rack?
It's going very well. I'll try and bring up an image if I can.
Jace was telling me today how you used Lego techniques to to work out the idea.
Yes,
I
I
thought
did.
that was
I
quite inspirational.
I literally used Lego. Yeah, I did to make the prototype. Well, my model,
Yep.
and then we welded it up. It looks. Well, it's not going to be very. Oh, here we go.
And it's adjustable, isn't it? It's height adjustable.
Yes, it's actually.
It sticks out a fair way.
Yes, it does. It'll be all right. Nothing could possibly go wrong. It's
And you're going to put 160 odd kilos on that.
no, only 165 kilos, which is what the tritium weighs.
It's a 225 on your hitch.
227.
227.
27.
Yep.
But technically, the bending moment is further out because it's away from the actual where a tongue would be. Oh,
Yeah.
where the ball would be. Sorry. But we're fairly confident it'll be okay. So we'll. And the great thing about the Model X's is they've got a air suspension, so it'll automatically level.
Yeah.
And then what we can basically do is deposit the charger. So if you look at the image, those it's a bit hard to see, but those legs,
Yeah.
there are legs there and there.
Yeah.
They are there to stop anyone from accidentally pushing over the charger, so it'll stabilize it so you can't.
Oh, I thought they'd have put dolly wheels on so the car doesn't fall over.
Well, I believe there are some hybrid trailers that have like a third wheel like a dolly wheel that's spring loaded to relieve the weight. But
Like wheelchair basketball wheelchairs. They have a little wheel at the back in the middle.
yes,
Protruding out the
spring loaded so you don't topple over or whatever.
Mm.
But I'm fairly confident that the car will be up to it. And the great thing is my initial plan was to get a small, like a motorbike trailer, and lay the charger flat, and then you have it sort of slide back and then pivot to be vertical. But I figured that, leaf springs and whatever, it would be a rough ride and the car would be better. And Jason Stanley, to his credit, said, well, why don't we just put it on the end of the hitch? And I guess, as per what Elon Musk says, when he describes anything to do with engineering, he goes, well, the best part to design is no part at all. Like if you can avoid having something, that's the best design. So by avoiding having a trailer, the best trailer is no trailer at all. So just hang it on the back of the car. There's no rolling resistance, bouncing and all that sort of stuff. So I guess the acid test will be in a couple of weeks' time or 3 or 4 weeks' time when I mount the charger and we take it for the first drive and see what happens.
Oh, I thought you were lining up to take it to Coolin.
We are.
Oh,
So Coolин's only about 5 weeks away, if that, barely, maybe 4, 5-ish,
yeah.
4.5.
Mm.
And you still feel confident that it will arrive beforehand? Fingers crossed.
Fingers crossed. We've got a couple of contingencies. If it's not that particular charger, we might be able to borrow another equivalent version. But
Okay.
I'm quietly confident that we'll have a fast DC charger at Coolin, drawing 22 kilowatts at least, if not roughly 35, I think. Very quickly, 240 times. Yeah, 35 kilowatts, potentially, and maybe better. And the great thing is on a Model 3, 35 kilowatts will fill your car in
1 hour.
2 hours.
2 hours.
Yeah,
Yeah.
tops. Yeah, if you've depleted it fully. And don't forget, Coolin is only 270 k's from Perth, roughly.
Yeah.
So it's not the full battery pack. Yeah, so a couple of hours.
When I was at Jurien and I was getting about 34 kilowatts out of the charger there. I mean, that in an hour, I mean, that's added 70% of the battery. So I rolled in with about 20%. 1 hour, I was at 90.
Oh, wow. Yeah, cool. So Ken's not here now, but I think we've got about 6 tickets, cars, basically.
I booked one, I think.
Yeah,
and I
cool.
booked my room at the Coolin Hotel. So do we need to bring any cables with us, charging cables or anything like that?
Well, what cable have you got, Ashley?
I don't. That's the reason I'm asking.
Oh,
do
cool.
I need to get one?
Oh, no, you'll be okay. No, we'll make sure that there's sufficient. We'll put it this way. If we've got, presuming we have the fast DC charger, then you'll need 0.
Okay.
If we don't, then we'll have a couple. Well, there is a HPWC at the ablution block, toilet block thingy, which will be fine. And there's a 32 amp 3-phase outlet as well. So I'll bring a couple of EVSEs that can load share amongst a couple of cars or 3 cars in any case. So no, you won't need to bring any particular charging cables.
Have you got any more spare cables with you? I'd like to pick up one at some stage.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
Purchase it off you. Yeah.
So just, I'll send you my number if you don't have it on.
I don't. Yeah, if you could just send me a number, that would be great.
Yeah, I'll just put it on chat, and it is. It is that. So just give me a buzz.
Thank
So,
you.
So you're looking for a Type 2 to Type 2?
Yes.
Yeah, cool. Yeah, well, through the club, they are 265.
Yeah, it's not a problem. Yeah, if you can just put one aside for me, that'll be great.
Yeah, cool. And that's 7.5 meters, which will get you about 2 car bays away from the charger. Say if you're being iced or whatever.
Yeah.
So that's a Type 2. Was that what I got off you, Peter?
It is. Yep, that's the exact same one.
So Harold, you were going to make some 3-phase adapter
Yes.
things at some stage. Is that still coming, or are you?
Yes, I'm literally doing it this week. In fact, I need to because one of our other members has bought a UMC 2 tail, and it's not working particularly well. And I need to make sure that it's the fault of the tail. He bought it from someone else, from another company. And what happens is after a few minutes, it clicks out and sort of stops charging. And I need to check that it's not a fault with its UMC, which is sort of possible. So yeah, I'll have a few tails by the end of this week, Peter.
Okay.
So and through the club they are 165. Yeah, for top members.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'll have.
Nigel needs one as well.
Yes, he does. Yes.
I've been asking Harold for a month or 3.
Yeah, you and me both. He's been a busy little Vegemite.
Yes.
Yeah, rah. Yes.
No, we're not going away for a little while now, so it's all right, Harold.
But in the meantime, if you need to go on a road trip, of course we've got Lona. Oh, hang on. Come here, Doc. No, you're not coming there. We've got Lona UMC ones with that will deliver effectively 11 kilowatts to your car, which is 16 amps 3-phase, which is slightly superior to the 32 amp single phase tail for your UMC 2.
The Model 3 is limited to 16 amps, I think. Is it not? Except for DC.
No, it's limited to the most you can charge in a Model 3 is 11 kilowatts, which if it's 3-phase is 16 amps 3-phase, but it can also accept 32 amps single phase, which is 7.6 kilowatts. If you use your UMC 2, the one you got for free with the car. So the tail that we can provide is a 32 amp 3-phase socket, plug that will pass into your UMC 32 amps single phase, because that's all your generation of UMC can pass. But as a club, we also have a couple of old UMCs, and UMC stands for Universal Mobile Connector. That can pass 16 amps 3-phase, which is 11 kilowatts. So there's look, overnight it makes zero difference. During the daytime, it's 50% more efficient to do the old UMC. But unfortunately, Tesla don't sell them, and you can only get them, well, I guess on eBay or whatever. Hey, Richard, welcome.
Hi, all. What did I miss?
Oh, nothing much. We're just talking about.
Solar. We talked solar for 1 hour.
Oh, excellent!
Well,
Damn it.
So Richard, tell us about this day. How did that go for you?
Today?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was great. Yeah, it was. Yeah. We were all there. Well, most of us.
Most of us, many of us, several of us.
Some of us were not, okay?
Yeah. Well, you got to be in it to win it. So if you weren't there, what can we say? No, it was good. Do you know what? I really liked seeing the EQC and the iPace and the Mini. I actually not that I'm going to buy any of them, but I just think it's great to get more manufacturers on board and to have people seeing that, not just Tesla is available. I think there were 7 manufacturers there today.
Yes. Yep.
So, I thought that was a brilliant thing, really. Not that the EQC is, priced to the point where, many people are going to be able to afford them, but that's, but the more that people see more brands coming on board, the better for everyone.
Well, to their credit, have you seen their ad? I've come across it several times on YouTube.
I think I know which one you're talking about.
It's got great tunes, and it's a very cleverly formatted ad. Like it's, especially when you see that guy where he grabs the I don't know what you call that, the Mercedes symbol, and he goes to grab it off the bonnet of a classic 1970s or 80s car.
Oh, I don't remember that bit, but okay, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know if anyone can bring it up on YouTube, but he literally just rips it off the bonnet, because my old man had a 1977 240D, so it's a 2.4 litre diesel, and it had that classic, you know, the Mercedes star, three thing star with the circle.
Three-pronged suppository.
Yes.
The what, sorry?
Three-pronged suppository. That's John Cadogan's name.
Says Dr. Nigel, who's familiar with said suppositories.
Yes.
So on my father's car, it was spring loaded. So if it hit something or whatever, you know, it would spring back. But I remember he bought it in Stuttgart in Germany, and back in '77, if you kept it overseas for 12 weeks, you could import it back into Australia for a discounted luxury car tax or whatever they had at the time, sales tax or whatever.
Yeah.
And anyway, obviously someone wanted that symbol more than my old man did, so they just ripped it off the car. So in the ad for the EQC, which has got that great tune, however it goes, you see that image where the guy just grabs it and just rips it. Well, he's about to rip it. You know he's going to do it.
Yeah. I've forgotten that. Yeah.
It's a great ad for a car that's, well, what do you reckon, Richard? It's sort of okay. It's got a transmission tunnel, so it's not really an EV, kind of.
Yeah.
You know?
No, I just think it's great that it exists.
Yes, true.
Overpriced.
Yeah.
How much is it roughly?
I heard 140. But...
Ooh, ouch. Oh well, it's a Mercedes.
Yeah, exactly. Well,
No,
by the way,
not as a...
if you hear any little noises or anything, it's because I've got this little one here with me.
Nice.
Oh, look at them.
And it's already plugged into an EVSE of sorts.
Recharge time.
Excellent.
I'm just breeding the next generation of EV owner.
Well, you did say a month or two ago that your thought experiment is whether that baby will possibly ever have to touch a nice car or be a vehicle.
Steering wheel.
Today was the first time he took fossil fuel transport because I was there at the EV. But
hang on, it's World EV Day, and that's appalling.
But because I was there, Emma had an appointment for him, but pushed him in the pram there and took the bus back, the diesel bus. So World EV Day has claimed its first victim.
But at least it's a bus, so the emissions were shared amongst the other.
Yes, but still, 2 months though. We managed 2 months.
Well, at least we know that he will never drive a fossil car.
Do we reckon? What do we reckon?
17 years. I predict,
absolutely.
yes.
Absolutely.
Norway is banning the importation or sale of any ICE vehicle beyond 2025.
Is that right?
Yep.
Yeah. I just wonder though, because I mean, you know, particularly for working in mining or anything like that, you need a license to jump in any of the utes. And so do we think that no vehicles will be on the road that are fossil fuel in 17 years' time?
Well, I like what Jay Leno said in his Model Y piece.
Oh, yes.
Where he said, look, ICE cars will be just like horses now. There's more horses now than ever in the world.
Weird,
doesn't mean they've gone away, but, we ride them for fun. We don't use them to go to work and, you know, plough the fields, etc. So maybe that's one way to look at it.
Yeah,
I mean,
like steam trains.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I've still got a nice sports car back in the UK, which, you know, whenever we're over there, you know, is my little sin toy to play around with. But I mean, hopefully they'll end up powered by synthetic hydrocarbons made from renewable energy. So, you know, you know, very inefficient, but it does work. So.
What was that saying about the Stone Age didn't end because of a lack of stones?
Mm.
It was just that, you know, something else came along that was better. So we just evolved. So hopefully,
Have you heard of a guy called Chick Henry?
Who?
Chick Henry.
I'm-
Okay, so
we're going a
in,
big no on that, Rob.
Hey?
We're going a big no on that.
okay, so in the ACT they've got a state election or a territory election coming up in I think 4 or 5 weeks' time, and Chick Henry is an independent. He's put his hand up for an independent. He wants light rail across into Belconnen into Canberra. He wants electric cars. He wants solar panels in all the shopping centres. Now, Chick Henry is the biggest muscle car head in Australia.
Yeah, right.
He's the guy that started the Summernats. You know, when they get all the hot rods?
Yes.
Yeah. He's the editor of Street Machine magazine. But
Right.
even though he's a petrol head, he's 73 years old now. He understands this is what society is doing. So he knows that you'll still be able to drive your petrol cars on the weekend at a car show, but Monday to Friday, it's you know, light rail, electric cars, solar panels. You know, it's most. I think most people are on it. Most people are onto this. They understand.
I think it's good. Things are changing. I've even noticed up in the mines, like, you know, it's got, even in 3 years of owning the Tesla, it's gone from, you know, I was the weird outlier to a lot of people now saying, oh yeah, it's the future. You know, and that's pretty huge.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, obviously, you know, what you're doing is all open cut, but you know,
I see where you go with this, yeah.
but underground, it's electric just makes all the sense. You know, like, you don't want diesel. Well, in underground mines, you've got diesel engines that are belching out, well, not necessarily carbon monoxide, but they're still consuming oxygen and pumping out, you know, CO2 and salt. Yeah, it's going to revolutionise.
Well, those ventilation systems are, well, millions of dollars. And when they break down, that's the end of.
Yeah. Well, and you think that the you know, the, I don't know how many underground miners you'd have, maybe 50, 100, whatever it is. The humans are consuming nothing. It's all the machinery, you know, internal combustion engines that are consuming all the, not so much oxygen, but they're producing lots of pollution that needs to be vented. It's like those you know, any multi-story car park or under, like you go to Woolies in Mount Pleasant, and they've got 2 stories of underground car park, and they need to have, you know, carbon monoxide sensors and fans and active ventilation purely because of all the ICE cars. You know, if those car parks are full of EVs, well, there'd be nothing to worry about.
Well, the same with tunnels under rivers.
You know, Richard, you're spot on with the tunnels. That's why Elon's tunnel boring is so much more efficient, because his tunnel area is about 1/10 of a normal tunnel.
Oh, I see. So yeah, you can
because you're not got an internal combustion engine working in that tunnel. You need far less ventilation. You need far less safety walkways. And all that sort of stuff.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, and that's a big cost saving.
It's a very good point. Mm.
Yeah, absolutely.
Always 10 steps ahead, that man.
Yeah, it's funny when you think about what Elon Musk, he's freakily proficient in about 5 disciplines. We got cars, rockets, Neuralink.
6 all up. Yep.
Sorry?
6 all up.
Okay, so
Yep.
cars, rockets, Neuralink, boring.
Batteries.
Hyperloop and OpenAI.
Yes. And what was the other one, Pete?
Batteries.
OpenAI.
Yes. So that's
Incredible.
6 disciplines that he knows more intimately than we could ever hope to know one.
Yeah.
He's a freak. It's just freakish.
Yeah.
He's an alien.
Yes.
Just trying to get home.
The Hyperloop is such a great concept. Not so much for human transport, but for freight transport.
Yes.
Because you don't need the oxygen systems in there for freight. If there's not enough air in the tunnel, it doesn't matter.
Well, Rob, I did some numbers when I was doing my undergrad back in '87, and I just theorized, because satellites go around the Earth for free, they just keep going round and round and round forever. And I thought, well, if you could evacuate a tunnel like a pipeline, you could project something with a linear accelerator thingy. What do you call it? Linear accelerator. And you could basically orbit and cross a whole continent.
That's genius.
Sorry?
That's genius.
Yeah. But unfortunately for me, I was a classic case of, I should have put my hand up or published it or something, but But as it turns out, I did a bit of research, and the Rand Corporation back in the 1970s had theorized a similar thing, and their approach to building tunnels was to use lasers somehow to just laser out the rock, which we now know doesn't kind of work. But basically, you could go from Perth to Sydney in an evacuated tunnel, and it would take about 17 minutes.
Whoa!
And that's a one-way trip. And basically, as long as you were levitating, so you'd have superconducting magnets and blah blah whatever, you'd actually recover most of the energy that you expended pushing forwards. You recover it as you decelerate. So if you actually accelerated at 1G, you'd be accelerating for humans. You go all the way to about halfway, pushing 1G that way. You get to about 25,000 k's an hour, which is the orbital velocity. So you'd almost be weightless at the center, and then you would flip the chairs around and then decelerate to Sydney, and the energy required would be very little. If it was straight or go on.
That did that, but it was one from one side of the Earth to the other.
Oh well, yeah. Well, I mean, the thing is, once you've accelerated, so it takes about at 1G, it takes 1,500 k's or so to get to orbital velocity, in which case you'd be weightless, and then you would just orbit for free all the way around. And I've actually seen a documentary where they talk about getting a pipeline across oceans. So what you do is you'd suck the air out, so it would be quite buoyant, and then you would tether it down to the seabed. Now the thing is, you've got to be pretty accurate, because you're effectively a ground level satellite, which is orbiting according to orbital mechanics. So if your pipeline was slightly out, like by a meter or whatever, then you would just, I'd call it graze across the pipeline at 25,000 k's an hour, which would be kind of awkward, because you would
bit more of a graze.
Yes, that's right. You would kind of smear across that pipeline. But you could actually have submerged undersea pipes or pipelines tethered to the ocean floor. You know, a little bit like those gas platforms that are tethered. You know, they're floating and then tethered and anchored. But yeah, that was back in '87, and
I'd love to see the engineering of that.
yeah, well, and of course the sad thing is for freight there'd be no problem, but for a commercial people transport, it only requires one bomb or whatever, and it would be all over for that infrastructure because it would destroy the pipeline. Because, you know, imagine you blow up the vessel, the vacuum vessel that's traveling through the pipeline, because of course you'd have to suck out all the air, because otherwise there'd be there'd be friction.
So because I cut my teeth on the London Underground, there are sections that would be underwater if the pumps weren't running 24/7.
Yes.
But there are also blast doors, so that if anyone did actually blow up a bomb at certain points, they close the people have the responsibility of closing the blast doors.
And drown the people in between.
Yeah, killing 3 trains worth of people to save another 3 or 4.
Yep.
So that would be a call you wouldn't want to make.
No, and that was one of the things. There's a documentary that goes along the lines of, I don't know what I forget what it's called, but you know, if humans just died out instantly, you know, what would happen to the Earth? And I think that was one of the things they said, that the London Underground would flood quite quickly.
Very quickly, yeah.
Because you've got to keep pumping out all that water continuously. And I think one of the last power sources would have been Hoover Dam.
I must have seen the same documentary.
Yes. Yeah. And I think they said in several 100,000 years' time, one of the only signs of civilization which they described at the time was the aluminium. What's the thing on top of a conventional ice car? The engine block. No, not
the head.
The head. The aluminium engine heads would be one of the last things that survives, because aluminium is highly unreactive. So all the cast iron block and all that sort of stuff and the whole body of the car would disintegrate, but the aluminium heads would remain for hundreds of thousands of years. Yeah.
I thought aluminium does corrode though, so I would have thought.
Very slowly, very slowly, because you know it forms the aluminium oxide. Well,
yeah, which essentially then protects.
Which protects, yeah, exactly. Yeah, yeah. Which is what most of the Teslas, including Model 3s, would do, is effectively not corrode very much at all.
Actually, that's a question. How much of the Model 3 is actually steel now?
I think the doors are still. I think it's only the front that's Ellie, isn't it?
Is it the front and the boot and the door?
Yes, yes. I think the doors are steel, but I think you're right.
But are the door skins aluminium? I thought when they did the Model 3 reveal, someone got like a fridge magnet and they put it on the door skins and it just fell off. I thought. Right. I'm not sure, because I thought it was predicted that the door skins, or most of the skin of the car, would be steel, but it ended up being mostly aluminium.
Yeah, I think I agree with you there, Harold. Thinking back to what Sandy Munro did, he went around it with a magnet going, look, this does not. Yeah.
So there's more aluminium in the Model 3 than they had initially thought, which means that the door skins, because Rob is away right now, but he knows as well as I do, there's, when you go across the Nullarbor, which all you guys must do at one point in the future, when it's a bit easier to do. Hey, Rob,
Yeah.
remember it? Is it? What's the Oasis? What's that on the Nullarbor? What's not Mundrilla? What's the Oasis roadhouse called? Something Oasis.
Medora.
Medora. It's got the old.
Endura.
Yeah, it's got the old some old car that's all rusted out, and it's got steering wheel and stuff. What would be interesting to see, which none of us will be alive to do that, is to see what an old Tesla Model S will look like in 100 years' time. And apart from all the leather being, you know, rotted out or whatever.
James will be able to tell you from what happens to us.
Yeah, well, you know, if we could freeze ourselves, we could look into the future and see what becomes.
Never know, guys. If we all get Neuralink implants, we live forever. How frightening would that be?
That would be awesome, because we could have different scenarios and we could like live a new life and go, well, that one didn't work out that well. Let's just reset and try that again. And
because I love a tangent, I don't know if anyone else is a fan of Ian M. Banks and has read the Culture series, but yeah, people would do that. People would say, oh, well, I only want to be, taken out of stasis, when this particular political party was in power, or this particular sports team was winning the league, or revive me in a million years.
Wasn't that also on the series Altered Carbon?
Oh, I have read that as well. The book anyway.
Where they had the thing and they took it out and stored it and then put it back in, and you were reborn. It could have been in a completely different body.
You move bodies, can't you, in that, I think.
well, for all of us who are aged over 40 and a little bit more, what was that one with Sylvester Stallone?
Total Recall? No.
No. With a young Sandra Bullock, where he was some criminal who was in prison forever or something, and
and he had to fight the black dude.
Oh,
He went into the future.
RoboCop?
No. And the way
Running Man.
Sorry?
Running Man.
No. It was like Future Man or something. And when he went to this toilet, there was no toilet paper, and then he swore, and it gave him like a code violation.
Oh, no.
And what he did was he kept on swearing, and he got more and more code violation paper tickets, and he used that as toilet paper. And when he crashed his car, the entire interior of the car filled up with like instant foam or something. No, not foam, like styrofoam or whatever. Like the whole thing filled solid to protect him.
I need to see that.
Man.
Sorry?
Demolition Man.
Demolition Man.
Say that again, Nigel. You broke up just then.
Demolition Man.
That's it. That's the one.
And Sandra Bullock.
That's it. Demolition Man. That's the one. Nice work. Yeah, that's it.
I'll have to watch that. I've heard of it. But...
Yeah, it's
quite a good movie. Yes, code violation, fine.
Because, well, like you said, Richard, we're going off on a tangent, but apparently in the toilet there were like 3 shells or something. And
3 shells.
Yes. And you were supposed to do something interesting with the 3 shells, whatever that was, and he couldn't work it out, so he just went, expletive, blah, 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 and he got code violation, you've sworn or something, and he just kept on doing it, and he got like enough tickets to wipe his rear end.
That's brilliant.
Demolition Man, classic movie. Oh dear.
There's a movie called The Dead Zone. It's from a Stephen King book, and apparently there's a character in there that's very much like Trump. And Stephen King wrote this book in 1979, and basically the character does the same thing. Wears the construction hat when he talks to the coal workers and and talks about the Bible, and it's, you know, it's like a carbon copy of Trump now. So I have to get that one. Watch that movie.
Life mimics art.
Yeah.
Well,
So it's The Dead Zone.
what was that series that was on the TV before the current president of the US was elected? That was was like a extreme case of someone being a bit weird as a president. And when Trump got elected, that was thought to be, well, before he was elected, they went, oh, that's a crazy sort of, what was that series called? It was a crazy sort of scenario where, you know, the president just becomes very self-consumed with themselves and acts like Trump sort of does.
Was it on TV, was it? Or on Netflix?
It was. And back in the day, like a few years ago, that was thought of as being outlandish. It wasn't The West Wing, it was something similar, like a similar context. And then, of course, when Trump got voted in, he outdid this theoretical construct of a ludicrous president to the point where they actually stopped the series because it was no longer interesting. I can't remember what it was called. One of you guys must know it. Maybe it wasn't Foxtel, which I don't have, but yeah, this hypothetical president was being, well, at the time, well outlandish compared to what was the norm, until Trump came in and sort of outdid that.
He trumped them.
He trumped them.
Yeah.
Not that we're being political, but it's just the way it is.
God damn it.
Harold, on another note, don't know if you guys saw Lucid going to unveil their cars tomorrow.
Oh,
is
really?
Is that the Lucid Air?
Lucid Air and
Yes.
the Grand Touring something.
So is that the same car that went from the bottom of South America to the top of North America, or is that something different, Pete?
It's the one with the 575 mile range, was it? No, sorry. What am I talking about?
I think it was 579 or something. Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. So is that tomorrow US time or our time, Pete? Well, I guess it's the same thing, isn't it? Roughly.
Yeah, the 517, mile range. Yeah, sorry, Ash. Yeah. Yeah, I think it's tomorrow.
Yeah, cool.
Tomorrow our time.
Yeah, right.
But the pricing's
Today,
already come out. So I think I just saw it here. Here we go. So they're going to have two models.
Yep.
So the Dream is the variant that's capable of running a sub 10-second quarter mile.
That's quick.
And yeah,
9.9 or something. Is that right?
correct. Yeah.
Their Dream Edition, they've called it, and they're saying,
Tell them they're dreaming.
the Model S. But it's the souped-up version. It's not the standard one that they're going to be releasing.
161,500 after federal tax credits is the price for that, and that's US,
American
obviously.
dollars, I presume.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, it is.
61. So they got a $7,500 US credit, haven't they? So
They would have to, yeah.
so that's the best
yeah.
part of 70K US.
No, 161.
Oh, wow. So it's 170,000. Wow, that's big bucks.
Yeah. Yeah.
They're going to get a sub 80,000 one too, but in 2025 or something like that. That's
So-
what they.
So again, Ash, how much?
A sub $80,000 one. I'm not really
Oh.
sure. Yeah, it's somewhere around 2025.
'Cause- Oh, well, yeah, of course, because in 2025, anything's possible. So
Even
so,
the-
so
What's the
that's-
most expensive Tesla in the US?
Say again, Richard.
What's the most expensive Tesla you can buy in the US?
Model X. Oh, yes, X.
Fully
Yes.
loaded. I mean, What
What
would
about the racing car?
Oh,
what that would come to?
we can have a look in 2 seconds. The answer is
It wouldn't be that much.
That's what I'm getting at. Yeah. I mean, I guess you can't really compare the Lucid Air to
Get two
the
Model
high.
X, one of those Lucid Airs.
So,
the answer's coming quite slowly. Well, in WA, it is 170 Aussie, which actually, sorry, if we go back one step.
The Model X
west.
performance, the Model X performance in the US starts at 94,690
okay.
before adding any fruit to it. So
Yeah.
sorry, yeah.
So we're just getting there in 2 seconds and a little bit. They're talking 79 or 80K, Pete.
Yeah. Wow, that's double.
Starting at 80. But obviously you've got to include
Oh yeah.
It's
well,
it's
autopilot, say
basically $100 grand. Yeah,
US for a
Model X.
that's right. If you go FSD, which I did click, but it kind of ignored. There we go. Yeah, 90K. Well, it's basically 90K. And Lucid is 170.
Don't forget that was the long range. So if you choose performance, you're a little over 100.
Sorry, yes, apologies.
Yep.
Yes, you're right. That would be the car, and we go performance.
That's it. And if you
And we're
choose
at 107, 109. Oh, sorry, 108K US.
and you can choose the red color, which will add 2.5 grand, and that's as expensive as you can go, I think.
And that's dead right, because the red car goes faster, as we all know.
Absolutely.
So we're at 110 and a half.
There you go.
Nice work. Oh, and,
And
we
the-
haven't done fat
they've got-
tires or fat rims.
And they've got a cheaper version called the Grand Touring, which is starts at 130 grand.
And what's its specs, Pete?
Probably not much, I would presume. Or they usually only give. They'll probably be revealed tomorrow, but presumably they don't give you the specs on the lower version.
So I'm not sure. Is the Performance X, is that 2 point? It's got a 2 in front for 0 to 100, definitely 2.9 or 8 or something like that. I think for the Model X at 110 and a half US.
2.6 seconds, 0 to 60 miles an hour.
Yep. And the Lucid is
That's pretty quick.
Yes. So that's tomorrow. So is that going to be a streamed thing, or well, I presume so.
Yeah, you'd think so. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a streamed release.
It's got a drag coefficient of 0.21. That would be less than Model 3 even.
Yes, it is.
Yeah. Oh, there you go. Model 3 drag coefficient 0.23.
Wow, that's pretty slippery.
Mm.
Does it look as good?
I don't think so.
You're asking the important questions. It is a
It looks good inside. I like the rear seats, how you can recline them essentially. So you can basically go to sleep. You can almost be horizontal in the back row.
Yeah. Okay.
Mm.
That's cool.
They'll be popular in a lot of the Asian countries where they usually have a driver drive the owner around, who usually sits in the back.
Yeah. If you're that rich.
Yeah, I think that sort of price is going to be competing with the Mercedes Model S class.
Yeah. Yeah.
The 517 miles, that's 832k. It's pretty good range.
Yeah,
That's Cybertruck range.
Is that
I mean,
not with a 116 kilowatt hour battery? Is that what they announced?
yeah, I think it was about 120 kilowatt hour battery on it.
yeah, that sounds right. The 116 sounds right. Yep. It was somewhat number above 100.
Yes, but
yeah.
not. But because I think initially they said it would be less than 130
Right.
initially, and then they went to announce. I think it was 116.
Okay.
Which is impressive. But Pete, you were saying that the coefficient of drag was
0.21
yeah, which is interesting.
compared to 0.23 for the Model 3.
And what about the Roadster? Do you know that one, since you're pulling drag coefficient?
Figures out my backside.
I was going to say that. But who am I to disagree?
Mr. Google. The Roadster has a drag coefficient of 0.36.
Well, no. Yeah, but Roadster 2, don't forget, because you might be getting...
Oh, of course. Yeah, that would be the Gen 1. Yeah, of course. That would be the Lotus, basically.
Yeah, which is...
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that didn't make any sense at all.
No.
I think you were right with your first comment about my figures.
No, I think you were right when you commented about your own figures. I was
just saying what you were thinking, Harold.
Oh, by the way, I'd like to do a quick shout out to Damon, who will be watching this, believe it or not, in a few days' time in half-hour blocks. So Damon, welcome to this probably third half-hour block. And we hope that you find it pleasing of some sort.
Was he hiding somewhere or in prison?
No, Damon. He hasn't. I don't think he's been on yet because it's all about work and stuff. He was at our last week's casual meetup at the Camfield.
Was he?
Yes,
I missed
absolutely.
him.
Yeah, he's got the Dragon X Model X, which was white and is now red because he vinyl wrapped it.
Different.
And a big shout out to Damon, who, like I said, will be watching this later.
Oh, I'm getting mixed up with Eamon.
No, not Eamon Hurley. No, this is Damon.
Okay.
So yeah, welcome Damon to this belated stream sometime in the future. Anyway, sorry, Pete. Please do carry on with your research into.
I'm sorry, Harold. I've got nada. I've got nothing.
Oh, you got.
I don't think it's been. It doesn't sound like it's been.
They might not have spooked it. Yeah. Well, perhaps we could do the Rolls Royce thing, which says something along the lines of
Adequate.
Exactly.
Adequate.
Yeah.
It's adequate. The Roadster's coefficient of drag is adequate.
Yeah.
So
I was going to say no one.
So Peter Harris, I'm presuming you're familiar with Winterbottom's
Yes.
Rolls Royce attitude, which was the power of the said vehicle is adequate,
Yes.
which they used to
They
say.
used to be down in Jollymont.
No, before then they were near the tunnel near the oh, what do you call it? The Graham Farmer tunnel,
Oh, were they?
Winterbottoms.
Yeah, no, I remember them down in Jollymont near where CIG Gas used to be as well.
Yes, but I think before then they were actually in town, and I think they
Could have
moved
been.
to Jollymont. Yes,
Could have been.
yes, in the good old days.
Actually, I think you're right.
Yes, you do
I do
think
remember
correctly.
going down
You're
there, fixing
right.
up-
You're right in thinking that I'm right. Not that I.
Picking up the sound system down there and with amongst all the bloody rollers and bits and pieces.
Yes, indeed.
I remember in my younger days, I worked for a company called Tedco, which was the service division of Musgroves. And there was a guy, I forget his bloody name, but he had a Rolls Royce that he used to bring in to get the radio fixed and whatever. And his business was, he had those big trucks that used to go around and suck out the shit out of septic tanks. And he used to be quite proud of the fact that he actually bought his Rolls Royce from shit.
What a legend.
There's a lot you can say about that, but
Yeah.
To give Rolls-Royce their dues, they are actually committed to producing the new model will be an EV because it's smoother.
Oh, really?
Yeah, absolutely. Yes. Yes. Their new car will be an EV because an ICE is too hard to dampen the noise and vibration.
Yeah, I mean, it's a perfect match, really. It's quiet, it's powerful, it's heavy. I mean,
They're already heavy.
Absolutely. Yeah. So yeah, their next car will be an EV, and it makes sense.
Didn't they say something about the charging, like that if you, that wherever you were, they would come out and charge your car for you, like on a mobile service?
Who?
So
Something unusual about what they'll do. I need to find.
yeah, cool. So do they ring up Johnny Edwards and say, "Hey, we're just going to bring a Kona alongside, and you can just charge off that."
Do.
In between hot laps.
Yeah.
Yeah. With the petrol Bowser on the back.
Yeah.
Well, electric Bowser.
Well, electric. That's right. Yeah. Just have a big enough battery pack or whatever, and So is that for real, Richard? They said that.
Sure, there was something. It must have been a certain set of circumstances. Like if you went outside of some particular area, then they would guarantee that you could. It would have a
Phone
it would be charged somehow.
Wow.
Yeah, I'll find out for next week.
Yeah, please do, because that will be interesting. I mean, otherwise you could just buy a Tesla and have charging everywhere.
I'm pretty sure.
Here.
I'm pretty sure. When you buy it, it comes with they'll come to your house and install everything that you need to, charge it quickly. But
was it not true that if a Rolls-Royce broke down, you weren't allowed to get it towed conventionally? They would have to flatbed it, and they'd put a tarpaulin over it, so it would create a unsavoury.
Have contracts.
Yes.
Excuse me, Harold. Rolls Royces don't break down; they fail to proceed.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
Oh dear. There's a lot. Oh yeah. Well, what can you say?
So can I take us off on another tangent just for a minute?
Let's do.
So it's very exciting. So here's a text from Western Power, so that they've given us fair warning.
Yes.
Reminder: we'll be turning off your power in South Fremantle tomorrow, 9th of September, from 21:30 to 5 a.m. for important work. So that's in 10 minutes' time.
Oh.
So we are going to see the first test of the Powerwall.
So your Powerwall allegedly will back up. Now, I did see the first video of Robert Llewellyn where he goes, if we turn the mains off,
Yeah.
there'll be a seamless transition. And of course, the lights went off for 30 seconds and then it eventually came back.
Yeah, that was weird.
Yes, it was. But apparently in a subsequent video, he actually...
Which I've seen. You'd never notice anything. So.
Oh, right.
Yeah, he did a second video where he switched off the main switch and nothing went off.
Yeah,
awesome.
So
something important's going to happen in 9 minutes.
Yeah. So
if you're still there,
yeah. So what I don't know though is that everything in the house should be backed up, but I don't know whether the local exchange is going to be also backed up. So therefore, my router might fail.
No, that stuff is the node, because you've probably got fiber to the node and then to the modem. That will have its own backup, so you will be on the interwebs.
Let's find out.
Well, but the problem is, if you're still there, we don't know if they didn't actually turn the power off at all, because you can't. Oh yes, up on the phone. Yes.
But I can also hotspot off my phone, which is connected to Telstra.
Which means if you leave and then you come back, we'll always surmise that
Telstra working. Yeah.
Well, what if the email was sent in error and they're going to do it tomorrow night instead, and then we'll never quite know. So should we just wait?
Well, there's road closure signs outside, so.
So what are they? Oh, so they might be doing a transformer or something, perhaps.
I'm
something. Maybe.
Yeah, because of everyone installing solar.
Indeed. So speaking of solar, it was great to see that Dave Kelly was at the...
I heard, yeah, I never saw him. What's that?
He was busy, so he arrived early and left early, which is fair enough.
It was good to see he left in a EV. He was driving an Ioniq. Yeah,
that is very ironic. Ioniq that he would do that. Boom, boom.
It's getting late, isn't it?
And not well received. It's been a long day, Pete. Oh dear. So, Richard, do you mean to say we've got to hang around for another 7 minutes just to see if you're there or not?
What trial? I mean, it's a shame that we've run out of things to talk about.
This is exciting television, isn't it?
Well, actually, we could talk about the elephant in the room, because I recall 2 weeks ago that we were going to talk about how to invest in shares and stuff, and perhaps it was good that we didn't do that, because I think the current share price is
it's looking all right in pre-open though.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, it's up about 10% in pre-market trading.
So we're talking $33 up. Is that right? So
yeah. So it's finished. Yeah, finished at 330 yesterday.
Yes. Yeah.
And it's at 355 at the moment.
Oh, nice.
So, yeah, it dropped about 20 yesterday, and it's clawed back about half of that.
No, I wanted to stay down because I can't buy internationally yet. So,
oh, Nigel, you've got a discount broker, and you just need to tick that little box and fill out the form, and you can just do it.
Yeah, I've ticked the box and I've filled out the form, and I've got an email to say, thank you very much, we're looking into it. I'm still waiting.
Right. Well, Hindsight Harry says that perhaps had they enabled it yesterday, you'd be a winner, and if they enable it tomorrow, who knows? It's all relative, isn't it? But yeah, so it's good, Pete. So 10%. Yeah, that's all right. That's good.
Mind you, it was down about, when I first looked yesterday, it was down about 8% in pre-market trading. and when it opened, I think it was down about 10% and ended up down 20%. So if we follow that logic, if it's up 10% in pre-market trading, it might finish up 20%.
So that's to do with obviously that Tesla were well, it said they were snubbed by the S&P 500, but was that date, like last week, was that the only opportunity that they would ordinarily admit the company, or could they, like for instance, could they admit Tesla
Tomorrow,
or next week, or
there's no said time or way they do it. There's just really the history to go. I think it's a committee that decides on it.
yes,
It was just logical that they would do it because there hasn't been any news from them since Tesla's last Q2 results. So this was and so some people were expecting Zoom to be included, and there was some other stock, and so they didn't get included. So, but yeah, it could, yeah. There is sort of no deadline to shoot for now. There is no date target.
Yep.
Didn't the whole market crash yesterday?
Yeah, the Nasdaq was down about 4%. So yeah, fair whack.
Huge amount. So they probably just went down along with it.
Yeah, and being a more volatile stock, yeah, I'm sure the macro environment had it. Yeah.
And Tesla, like many of those marginal stocks, will amplify the index. So if the index goes up or down a certain amount, on average, Tesla will magnify that in the similar direction. So if the Nasdaq goes down 4, then Tesla can easily go down 10, and vice versa for ups.
Yep. The move down in the Nasdaq just in the last week or so has been the fastest move of that magnitude ever, apparently.
Well, is that percentage or absolute? What?
Percentage.
Yeah, right.
Percent.
Yeah.
It dropped 10% or something, didn't it?
Yeah.
I think it was down about 4% last night.
No, over the past week or so.
Oh yeah, no, at least, yeah.
Well, there has been talk of, in spite of the global slowdown because of COVID, and it's a lot more dramatic. The numbers are a lot worse than we think in absolute number or in relative numbers. Everything for us obviously seems fairly normal relatively, but the global economy has shrunk by a lot. And yet most people haven't really noticed, or at least we don't have that visibility to notice that. We're sort of in a bubble. Yeah, that's right. So it's not surprising that the share prices should go down because, didn't we had the big dip in March, April, and then the Nasdaq and most other tech stocks have, like Apple, have just boomed. Like, Apple was slammed and it's kind of recovered as if nothing happened.
Yeah.
And yet there's that gravity of reality or economic reality that sort of still says we're kind of in a shrinking mode, and yet no one believes it. Well, whatever, I don't know.
That's right. We'll have a vaccine early next year and it'll all take off again.
No, I thought we are going to have that next month, Pete. I thought that was going to be next month before November.
Who said that? You've been listening to Trump too much.
Well, I don't know if I've been listening. I've been hearing those words, those dulcet tones. Yes, indeed. And was it not true that one of the vaccines had a adverse? Oh, sorry, Nigel. One of those vaccines had an adverse reaction. Was that the Oxford?
Somebody got crook, but they don't know yet whether it was a result of the vaccine or some other underlying cause. So
it was
looking at
the
it.
Oxford.
It was the Oxford.
It was.
Yeah.
They got one who got a transverse myelitis, which is an inflammation of the spinal cord and the nerves.
But do they know yet? Nigel, do they know
whether it was as a result of the vaccine or not? And it could take them a week or two to discover that.
Nigel, do they know if he was in the placebo group or in the actual He got the actual vaccine?
Sounds to me like he got the vaccine.
Right. Okay.
Once you've got somebody like that with a severe reaction, they pull it to sea.
Yes.
Yeah.
So is this just the vaccine alone, or was it after having the vaccine being challenged with COVID? Are they to that stage yet, or is it simply
No,
a
they're
safety
not
test?
challenging them with COVID. They're giving, out of say 30,000, 20,000 are going to get the vaccine, 10,000 are going to get salty water. And it was, I believe, one of the ones with the vaccine who got a transverse myelitis, which is quite a severe disease. So they pulled the pin on the study until they can prove whether it was the vaccine or not. And
So it's entirely plausible that, possible that that person may be completely unrelated and just.
yes,
Yes.
yeah.
Hopefully
And
that's the
Richard's
case.
still here.
Well, yes.
But
Have they-
tell me, when are the power people ever on time?
It's still drawing from the grid, so
Ah, nice.
Exactly.
So does that mean your power wall is flat, or is it on bypass? It's got.
it's on 59% at the moment.
So why isn't it drawing down? Or you've set it. Oh.
So, okay. So the way that I set it is because we're on the smart home tariff, so where we get cheap power from 9 p.m. to 7 a.m. What it does is actually quite clever. So at 9 p.m. it will stop drawing
From the power wall.
From the power wall. It will start drawing from the grid, but then depending on your power loads through the night, it will then start using power from the power wall. The idea being that it's got just enough power in the morning to power the house off of the power wall until the sun comes up. And I've watched it, and the more that you have it in that mode, the more that the algorithm learns, oh, there wasn't enough power on that day. I mean, what I would love to know is if it started to be mapped into Tesla's, like into the weather service to see like what the situation there would be. I don't know if it does that. Apparently it doesn't, but who knows. So yeah, it's just been, it's quite fascinating to watch, really.
So it's acting to actually minimize your overall power cost.
Yeah, because so the power wall is doing that by, pretty much meaning that, the negative of getting that power cheap overnight is that it's really expensive, 55 cents a kilowatt hour between 3 p.m. and 9 p.m.
Yeah.
But because we've got the power wall, we can almost always, get through to at least 9 o'clock. And, and I've been roasting potatoes and frying beef.
Gotcha puddings and stuff.
Yeah, it's been a crazy night. Hey, it's,
Hey, Richard, with your question as to whether it takes the weather into account, I'm not sure if it takes the day-to-day weather into account, but if there's a severe weather warning, it will charge up to the max.
Stormwatch. Yeah, I've got
Stormwatch, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah, but I've never seen it used, but it happened. But I would imagine, that's a great feature too.
Yeah, absolutely. That is very clever.
So now, what my mum back in the UK, her power wall's just been upgraded from the version 1, which is the DC couple, to the power wall 2. But what I'm going to be doing with her once we change the tariff over is there's a tariff in the UK that gives really cheap power, like 5 pence a kilowatt hour. So what's that, about 7 or 8 or 9 maybe cents a kilowatt hour?
Yep.
Overnight. So what I'm going to do with that one, she's got an air source heat pump which heats the house, heats all the house, the radiators. So of course that's really expensive, or draws about 2 kilowatt constantly overnight. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to set that one on the cost option, so that what it does is it gets to that point of the night, those 4 hours, it then obviously runs the house on that power. Oh, there we go. That was a flick of the lights.
Yeah, I saw that. Is it?
Check your app.
What's your app
Here we
say?
go. Just changed.
Nice.
Oh,
Look at that.
that was
Oh,
well
when you
done.
failed, you flickered.
That is live on TV.
It sure
That
is.
is that's almost like a UPS.
They're only 5 minutes late. How
I'm
good's
annoyed
that?
that the
That's awesome.
how cool, how good's that? So,
Nice work.
and we're here.
So how long did they say the outage would be? Did they?
Morning
Sorry.
till 5 a.m.
Oh, right. Oh, so you need to go soonish so that you don't run out of juice. Otherwise, you'll be.
Cool. We're drawing 800 watts at the moment, and that's a couple of fridges. That's an infrared panel for heating upstairs.
So your downlights behind you, they're LEDs.
All LEDs, yeah. and
Oh, nice. Oh, awesome. Nice.
So
work.
that's it. And that's obviously a couple of CCTVs, cameras, the router.
Yep.
Various bits and bobs.
Yeah, cool.
So I mean, the power.
And all your standby.
Sorry.
And all your standby, obviously, and all your phones that are plugged in or whatever. Yeah. It all.
Yeah. Good point. Yeah. Things on. Yeah. A couple of laptops are plugged in. So the power was at 59%. So let's just do a very quick maths. 13.5.
That'll bugger up your algorithm a bit.
Oh, it might.
So how many watts are you consuming, Richard?
So that's pretty much 8 kilowatt hours that the power was going to have. So if we're drawing 800 watts at the moment,
10 hours.
Yeah. Well, that's even if you're drawing a kilowatt, that's 8 hours. So that will do it.
You're right.
Work.
Yeah. Nice.
Yeah. There's a screen I've never seen before on the app.
Yeah.
And it was literally like a minor flicker for.
Yeah, there was. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
Nice.
awesome.
Well, I've just checked mine. My house is only consuming 0.5 of a kilowatt hour at the moment, and my battery is at 68%. But I don't have a Tesla Powerwall. I've just got LGPs.
Yep. Well, that's cool too.
I'm gonna pull up mine, see how much we're drawing.
Yeah. I'm doing the same.
And interestingly, I made 31 kilowatts today.
Hours.
Yeah, 31 kilowatt hours.
Yeah.
I'm just going to go and put one at the front of the house just because I can.
We're drawing 4 point. Yeah, invite all the neighbours over for a party. All the neighbours will be walking past your house going, geez, he's got bright candles, that guy.
I'm being wasteful. I've got 1 point something, kilowatts.
Well, I'm on 4.7 kilowatts.
Oh,
But
get the heater
there's
on.
a reason for that, because
Yes.
come 9 o'clock, we turn everything on. So we're on smart power.
So you're doing the washing, you're doing the dishwasher, everything.
All the appliances come on. The water pump comes on because we've got no scheme water. The pressure pump comes on for the dishwasher and the
You got
washing
no scheme
machine.
water, Pete.
Yeah, no scheme. Yeah.
How far away are you from Perth? Not far. 10k. 10K.
Just down the road from Joondalup, but we're on 5 acres, so that's why. Yeah. Acreage.
Fair enough. Yeah, I'm on 1.1 kilowatts, which is not a lot. Cool. So that was a live demo. So Damon, when you're watching this, it was exciting to see Richard's power not fail.
Yeah.
Nice. Oh, sorry, Pete. Pete, no, I couldn't see it.
Yeah, sorry, it's not working with the virtual background.
It thinks you're not a person. Yeah. No, can't see.
But yeah, anyway.
Yeah, cool. Excellent. Well, maybe on that note, we could do like a bit of an early night, since some of us have had a long day and we're a bit tired and emotional.
It's ironic that on World EV Day, we call it a night early. We have an early one on World EV Day.
Yeah,
Yeah, thanks for everything today, Harold.
Oh, cool. It was, well, yeah, thanks to mainly Florian Pop and Eddie and the team at Gemtech, who basically initiated the day, and obviously ABB and Eva and Crown Resorts for hosting it. That was an awesome day.
Yeah, but you were running around like a blue-ass fly and doing the drone work and all that. You know, I can't wait to see the footage from that.
Oh,
Yep.
Was
Yeah,
it
yeah.
a good drone day, was it, Harold?
Oh, we did a lot of droning.
Well, since you asked, Peter, this time my drone didn't fly into anyone.
Oh,
However, I ran into my own drone because
You okay?
well, it was in the underground car park, and I was like running behind it, and it thought there was something in front of it, so it stopped dead, and I just proceeded to run into the back of it.
Ooh.
It was
okay?
okay. It was a gentle landing, because what happened was I ran into it, then it tumbled down, and I could see it going down towards the concrete floor. So I proceeded to put my foot out to kind of cushion it, which meant I proceeded to kick it even further down away from me. And yeah, it was all right. Yeah. So
Hey Harold, when you were
Very
in the underground car park, all that beeping going on with the drone,
yes.
was that because of all the walls
Yes,
and because it was in a confined space?
Yes,
Yeah,
because it was basically saying, I'm panicking, I've got stuff all around me, and I'm warning you that I'm near an object. And I just went, I don't care, just keep flying. It's okay, nothing to see here, move on.
Yeah.
Except, like I said,
The owner,
chasing it.
the operator.
It was an ID 10T error.
Okay.
So I've just got to you, which it isn't.
No.
59%. That's strange. But okay.
But
Hey, you might want to edit that out. You had Richard's address.
yes,
Your
I did.
address came up
And
on
I'm
the
going to do that.
Thanks, Harold. Sorry, thanks, Pete.
Yeah, no, good. Oh, it's funny because when you were saying, Pete, I just caught that as well.
Yeah, I don't mind you guys knowing, but yeah, thanks.
10.
Nigel.
No, 9. Sorry, it's 9.
Nigel. We were talking a few weeks ago about the total watt-hour kilometres that the car's done since new.
Yes.
Do you remember what yours was?
Mine is currently sitting at about 146-ish.
That's all right.
That's not bad. And that's an SR Plus. No, you're a SR Plus. Yes.
Yeah. But a couple of weeks ago, we went up to Freo and back. Going up, I only used 112 watt-hours per kilometre. And when I got home, on the journey home after charging it there, it said 96. How the bloody hell I managed to do that, I don't know. But there was a lot of traffic, so we were stop-starting quite a bit.
In my Model X, I've actually had sub 100, thinking, how is that even possible? But it sometimes
it's the first time I've ever noticed a sub 100 reading.
Yep. So
Hey,
how about you, Pete?
I'm on 371 watt hours per kilometre. See if you can figure out how that's possible.
Since new.
Keep right foot.
No, that's because you've just started. That's not lifetime, is it? No, it can't be lifetime.
No, not lifetime. Lifetime.
No, I was talking about lifetime.
Yes. So,
My
Pete, what are your
lifetime.
About 146.
Nigel, your lifetime's 140 something.
Yeah, 146 lifetime.
Bloody
hell, that's good. Mine's 163. I must be a bit aggressive.
So Peter, are you a SR Plus? No, you're a performance. What's your car, Peter?
We're both Peters.
No, sorry, Harris.
They're both performance.
Yep. And Peter Harris, what's your lifetime?
163.
That's all right. And other Pete?
142.
With performance, that's on 20. Is that sorry? That's what size rims you got? 20.
No, but I've got the Stealth, so I'm on the 18th.
Oh, nice work. Yes. Yes. So you got the best of both worlds. So you got the power plus the economy. Yes.
What have you got, Peter? Still,
Uh,
what's that?
It's the P miners. So the first couple of weeks when they first came out, the performance package that you have, which is the bigger brake calipers, the spoiler, the larger rims, and the track mode, etc. That was all separate, so you had to pay for that separately. So there was a performance version, and then to get everything that already came bundled in with your car, that was an option.
Yeah.
So I had it. So I've got a performance without the performance package, the optional performance package. But then that was just the first 2 weeks, and then they bundled it all in.
So Pete, you can do 0 to 100 in 3 point whatever seconds, but you can't brake hard, and you don't have track mode.
No, I do have track mode.
Oh.
Yeah. They gave, and I've checked it with a lot of the other guys, but they were nice enough to include track mode. So,
but you can't do you haven't got the carbon fiber spoiler.
No.
Right.
No.
So you can't do 253 or something. You know, you can only do 249 or whatever it is k's an hour. Is that right? Something like that, I think. Because they don't unleash the extra speed unless you've got that little boot spoiler lip thing.
Really?
Yes. Oh, yes.
Yeah, right.
Because Bjorn Nyland in Norway, he had the performance version at the start, but at that time, because they were trying to get the throughput of Model 3s, they weren't fitting the little spoiler lip until they were at the delivery center, and they were too busy to do it. So he had to wait several weeks or whatever it was, and then they went into his car and upped the maximum speed by 5 odd k's an hour or so.
Yeah, right.
As if it kind of, made a difference, which I guess Tesla alleged it did. Like, they weren't prepared to let you go faster without the spoiler.
Can't go that fast anyway.
Not in Australia, of course not. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, 110s. Well, unless you go in the Northern Territory, where I think there's still sections that are. Is it completely unlimited or 140 or something?
I don't know. It used to be.
Used to be, yes, and used to have the.
May still be. I don't know.
I met a gentleman in Tennant Creek who would go to Adelaide, and I forget how long he told me it was, but it was scarily quick. Like they were doing ludicrous speed, like 200 plus.
Yeah,
they could do it, and I'm thinking, wow, you hit a Roo or something else.
Water buffalo.
Yeah, exactly.
Just drive down the German Autobahn. Great fun.
Which is a lot of fun, yeah.
Yeah, I've done it.
I've done it
I was
myself.
one of the slowest cars on the road. I was doing 160, 170.
Oh, you're slow. You're slow, Nigel. I was doing 230, thinking that's pretty scary. Like, and those gentle bends feel kind of curvy at that speed. And there were Audis just, see you later.
Audi, Porsches just went woof past me. And I'm saying, I'm doing 170.
And that's why Germany has so many wind turbines, because they militantly refuse to reduce their Autobahn speeds or regulate their Autobahn speeds. And like, for instance, I remember in Austria, there's a sign that says IGT or something similar to that. And it's like a abbreviation meaning that they reduce the speed on their highway. They don't have Autobahns per se, but they reduce the speed so that all the ICE cars get a superior fuel economy to abate carbon emissions and pollution. So they actually mandate that all the cars on their autobahn type things, highways, freeways, go slower. Whereas in Germany, they're still flat out in the sections where you can go flat out. So Germany's building heaps of renewable energy to offset that surplus energy consumption. Because, you know, it's so funny. Here we beg for 1 or 2 superchargers. In Germany on autobahns, superchargers can't charge hard enough, because if you're doing 220 k's an hour or 240 k's an hour, even a Model S, which is pretty efficient, burns through that battery pack pretty quickly. You know, you can't do much more than 200 k's and you've got to refill.
Yeah.
From a car that would normally do 600 k's or 500 at, you know, 110. When you're doing 220, it just burns through. But anyway, yeah.
I'm sure I would have hit 250 in my sister's Model S when I was going through Germany about this time last year.
Yes. Is it 253 or 252? It goes red. At about 250 or 248, it goes. The speedo goes red.
I didn't look at the speedo going red.
Looking where you're going.
What was it? One that had a sunroof?
Yeah, exactly the same as mine.
Because the sunroof, I think once you get past 140, it refuses to open or shut. Like, it won't move. It'll just stay wherever it is. Oh, it's hilarious. It's, yeah. Things happen pretty quickly.
Yeah, even if it meant more supercharger stops, which it did, I was like, this is happening.
Yes, exactly. And that's why they got supercharged. They got so many superchargers in Germany. It's just.
Oh, I mean, Europe everywhere is, you know, service station you put in just because you need a coffee, and there's a supercharger.
Yes. And one day, sometime in the galaxy far, far away, in WA, we'll have the same. One day.
We'll double the number of superchargers.
Yeah.
Here, maybe.
Which, by the way, since it's so late at night, we can announce a few whispers, and the big whisper is that Williams is getting a sled. Just quietly.
Ooh.
Really?
You heard it first here.
What?
What's Williams getting?
The wool shed is getting a sled.
So how would you want to explain?
Supercharger sled. So that's one AC to DC converter and two supercharger stalls on a forkliftable. They call it a sled.
Yeah,
because they can move it around.
Will that do what, 50 or more?
No, they're superchargers.
50
No, they can do 120 kilowatts roughly. Yeah, the full thing. It's like Eaton. It's like 1/3 of Eaton. So it's 2 stalls and 1 DC power supply or converter.
Yeah.
On a forkliftable sled, which is about 3 meters wide, perhaps, or long, whatever you want to call it.
So the rumor is that in a warehouse in Melbourne, Tesla have got a few of these sleds.
They had, yes. Back 2018, August, or was it 2019? Sorry. No, 2019, they were photographed, except they were the non-CCS outlets, the type 2 outlets. So perhaps they've changed them to a dual outlet, type 2 and CCS 2 for the Model 3s.
So interestingly, recently Tesla emailed, I can't remember, we probably all got the similar email. It was some promotion, or maybe it was even something about test driving a new model, and test driving a car.
Yeah.
And I replied with, I don't know, I've already got. Oh, maybe it was about Powerball actually. I said, and I replied, didn't get any response, but I replied and said, look, I've already got an S and a Powerball. It's all good. But I said, but how about bringing some of those superchargers on the sleds to WA where we urgently need them? Never heard any response back. But I've been saying the same thing on Twitter as well. Every time that I've, it's occurred to me, and I think, well, maybe if enough people have been doing the same thing, maybe Tesla.
Sorry, as a club, we actually did send some correspondence to Tesla suggesting that sleds would be a great alternative.
Yeah,
and and the good thing about it is that it's super quick to implement, because it's basically a self-contained, pre-commissioned unit that they simply have to get an electrical contractor to connect to suitable power. And in one sense, it's also great because if, in the rare example that the usage was low, like at Warrnambool, I think in far western Victoria, they actually removed a sled because of low usage. It's a great thing where they can sort of put the asset there, and then if there is, if it's underutilized, they can move it somewhere else that's useful. So the commitment is fairly low, relatively. Whereas Eaton is a gold standard 6-stall supercharger setup.
Which, I mean, anytime I ever happen to notice that there's a car there, I mean, there's never more than one car there usually.
Exactly. Yes. And we can do it right this minute. We can open our Tesla apps and go supercharging, and Eaton is, unsurprisingly,
empty.
6 of 6.
Yeah.
Oops. What did I send?
So Williams is about halfway to Albany from memory. Is
correct?
That right?
Yeah.
Not quite. It's about a third. It's a third, Peter. Yeah. So ideally, and we did suggest this, that Tesla, well, the ideal location is Arthur River, but they've got split phase. Well, not split phase. They got farm type 2 phases out of 3. So there's not enough power. So the other alternative is to put one supercharger station at Williams and then one at Kojonup.
Yep.
Yeah.
So rather than splitting Albany in half, you split it in thirds, which is still a great thing. And in fact, the reason why Tesla put their first supercharger, their only supercharger in Eaton, is it's 160 k's from Perth, and it's perfect if you do that 20 to 50 or 60% battery charge, because you get the full rate or a high rate before it starts tapering, and then you just hop to the next one that's roughly 160 or 50 k's away. So it's it's the quickest way of transiting through the supercharger system. So Williams is ideal, because then hopefully, and it's unconfirmed, that they'll put a supercharger at Kojonup, and then Albany is completely sorted at a very fast rate. Whereas now in an SR Plus, you would leave Perth with whatever you wanted. It doesn't really matter, but you would have to probably charge to 80% roughly to have confidence of making it to Albany on an SR Plus. And of course the car will taper off. So you won't be getting the 120 kilowatts, you'll be getting at 80% probably 30 or 40%, 30 or 40 kilowatts. So it'll taper off. So you'll be spending more time at Williams than you would if you could do charge to 50, 60, get to Kojonup with 20, 30, and then, top up for Albany.
Let's hope they've got another 2 for Merredin and Jurien.
Indeed, Merredin. Well, if you got Merredin and Southern Cross, you've solved Kalgoorlie.
Or probably better then would be Northern and Southern Cross.
No, Northern's too close.
No, I think Merredin's better. I think Merredin, Southern Cross, Jurien.
I only say that because if you've got like a Model X 60D and you're towing a trailer, Merredin would be too far.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm not sure. No, well, I don't want to contradict you, Richard, but there is
Please
no
do.
60DX in Australia. There's a 75, which is a catastrophe, just quietly. There's a 75 and a 90.
I'm sure I've 60D Model X in Perth a couple of years ago. Sure I did.
Oh,
Hope I'm wrong, but
I hope you are too, because unfortunately, what Tesla calls a 90 is not quite a 90, and possibly,
really?
like for instance, my car's got a usable full pack of about 71.
Really?
Yes.
Fuck.
Perth to Merredin's about 260 kilometres.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Oh, 260 to Merredin. Yeah, because Kalgoorlie's 600. So yeah, that's right. It's a long. So that's so actually, what's northern Perth to Northern, Nigel?
60, about 50 mile, very roughly with the new road.
50 miles.
80
Oh,
K.
so that's about 80 k's. All right.
Roughly.
So you actually want somewhere about 160, which might.
Close to that.
Cunderden or somewhere like that,
Yes. Yep.
or even Kellerberrin.
Oh, I worked out I can't see my car because it's too far. It's outside, so I can't get my Bluetooth. But yeah, I've got 71 kilowatt hours usable on a 90 pack.
Far out.
Why is that? Getting old?
Yeah, it used to be about 76 usable. So when I went from Tennant Creek to Camberwell, which was 471 k's, I had 76 kilowatt hours available, which is why I did the first 50 k's at 60 k's an hour, the next 50 k's at 65, and then the next 371 k's at 70 k's an hour, and made it with about 19 k's to go.
But a 90 odd kilowatt battery with only 71% capacity. That's
no, 71 kilowatt hours. So
yeah.
A couple of years ago, Tesla abandoned the kilowatt, well, the number. There used to be a my wife's S came out as a 60 kilowatt hour software locked.
Yeah, 75 really. Yeah.
It was a 75, but it was software locked to 60, and it was cheaper, so I bought that one. And then I quickly realized, actually, I should have not upgraded it, because on a software limited 60, you can charge it to what they call 100%, and it's nowhere near the danger zone of marinating a battery or whatever. But I wanted more range, so I paid the couple of grand to get to the 75 that its nameplate or boilerplate 75. And I haven't actually plugged a dongle in to see what it actually is, but in my car I have, and it started life as a 83 point something kilowatt hour usable pack, and is now a 71. But that's after 141,000 Ks, so it's done a few Ks. So make that, that's just what it is. So next time when I go around Oz, waiting for my Cybertruck, I might have to stay at 65 Ks a bit an hour longer to get from Tennant Creek to Camberwell. Yeah, but the Model 3s are, even SR Plus, I thought, is that 60 kilowatt hours.
No, they're 50.
50. Okay, 50. But they're much more efficient.
I think mine's 75. I'm not sure. I think it is. Is that right?
Yeah,
Peter?
it should be 75 with about 72 and a half usable.
72 and a half usable.
Yeah.
Well, imagine that. That's more energy than my X, and I've got to push a lot more frontal area.
Mm.
So for me
That's
to
what you get for spending so much money.
yeah, well, yeah, that's right. Welcome to the early adopters. That's right. That's right. God bless me for wasting my money to make Model 3s possible.
But you didn't waste it, that's for sure.
No, and
We appreciate it, Harold.
yeah, thanks. So yeah. I'll put a little halo over my head.
That'll work.
I've only. It's not quite a blue halo. It's a blue whatever
What
that
the
is.
hell is it?
Oh, it's what do you call that?
Oh, yeah.
You can,
Crimper.
yeah. With a counter, you can even it can even count how many times you've done it. It's pretty old. I think I got it at Kmart for about $20.
What actually is it?
It's a thingy exerciser, so you can.
Oh, for exercising.
Yeah, and it counts every time you
Yeah.
do a thingy. It counts it,
There you go.
so you can do 100 and then stop, or whatever.
I thought it was a crimping tool for connectors or something.
No, not quite that. No. But yeah, so that's obviously the early adopter thing where, battery packs, because they're getting more superior as they go along, which gets us back to how many sleeps is it till battery day?
It's only about 2 weeks, isn't it?
Excellent.
Second.
Oh, that's right. Is it? It's the 22nd of September? Is that right?
It is, yeah. Yeah, 13 sleeps. Or 14 for us, maybe 2 weeks, yeah.
So 22nd is a Tuesday, but we'll see it on the Wednesday. Which means next week we'll have to do our predictions.
Oh, right.
Because obviously the week after that we'll be doing an autopsy on how it went and, how excited we are.
Yeah. Anyway, I'm going now, so I'll see you guys next week.
No worries, man.
No worries,
See you, Nigel.
Nigel. Take care.
Have a good sleep.
See ya.
See ya.
Good, Nigel.
So we're going to put our predictions in next week for what we think, apart from the obvious, which is a 40-70 format or similar. If we could be bothered, we'd look at that, their announcement where they've got the folded over or the tabless design. And if we could count how many layers were in that or are in that image, and then work out the curvature, we could possibly deduce how wide the pack is, or the battery cell. So whether it is a 40/70 or a 60/70 or something in between. But there's not a lot of point bothering if we can just wait 2 weeks and watch it on TV.
Find out.
Yeah, find out. But unless someone wants to, Google it out, tweet it out and make a prediction and be famous, it's all, But on that note, maybe it's getting a bit late and we've had a long day.
Sleep.
At least three out of four of us have had a long day. And
Sorry, I've been busy.
Yeah.
Don't pick on Pete like that.
And one of us, being yours truly, is a bit tired and emotional after a couple of years, but you get that.
Yeah. You're not the only one that's tired and emotional.
Oh,
Yes.
there we go.
Exactly. Well, Richard, you're always tired, and isn't the best
Oh,
thing?
look at that, yawning.
Don't tell Emma this, but I get more sleep doing this than I do when I'm up at work.
That's true too. But but obviously shift work is tiring when you're at work, whereas baby work is tiring the whole time,
All the time, yes.
all the time. But we all grow through that, and they're only little for a very short time.
Yeah, Richard, no overtime, just all the time.
Yeah. Oh, it's great.
Cool. On that note,
Righto, guys.
probably a good time to adjourn till next week.
Yeah.
Yep. Okay.
So,
Have a day.
good to see you, and we'll
Good to
catch
see you guys.
next week.
Yep.
Take
Thank you,
care.
Mr. Convener.
See you guys. Good
No
night.
worries. My pleasure.
Bye.
See you. Take care.
Yeah.
Bye.
Thanks.